Welcome to the deep dive. We've got this big stack of info you sent over: brochures, government data, news reports, all focused on Tuju Residences. It's this new mixed-use development in Segambut, Kuala Lumpur, though they're really pushing the name KL North. Our job today, basically, do the homework for you. Think of this as your all-in-one due diligence report, whether you're eyeing it for investment or maybe as a place to live long-term.
We have to start with something, well, critical. Before we even touch on the design or the fancy facilities, there's a major red flag in the sources. It fundamentally affects the project's value.
Okay, hang on. Usually we start with the vision, the cool features. You're saying there's a legal issue right off the bat.
A massive one. It's about the land tenure. Look, most of the marketing stuff, the property sites, even the developer's own website, they say leasehold, clearly. But then we found this credible news source, and they're citing official government data from KPKP, the housing ministry, saying it's freehold.
Whoa, okay. That's not just a detail. That's fundamental. Leasehold versus freehold. That changes the entire calculation for a buyer, doesn't it? Long-term value, financing, everything.
Exactly. It's possibly the single biggest factor. So everything else we discussed today kind of has this asterisk next to it, pending clarification on that tenure.
Got it. And you mentioned completion dates, too?
Yeah, another inconsistency. Some sources say 2027, others say 2028. Less critical than the tenure, maybe, but still something you need certainty on. But honestly, the tenure is the absolute showstopper. We can't really give a final verdict without knowing that.
But for now, assuming this gets sorted, what's the actual pitch? What makes Tuju compelling?
Well, their whole concept is built around these three C's: convenient, configurable, and comfortable. And the name Tuju, it means direction or destination. They're aiming to make it, the only place to be. A lot of that comes down to how Malaysian families live today.
Ah, right. The multi-generational living angle. That makes sense. Designing for families who want to be close, but maybe not too close. Grandparents, parents, kids, all needing their own space but nearby.
Precisely. And the configurable part is where it gets really interesting for homeowners. They talk about hackable internal walls.
Hackable, meaning non-structural. You can actually knock them down or move them.
That's the idea. So a two-bedroom unit could potentially become a three-bedroom if your family grows. Or maybe you convert a room into a walk-in wardrobe later on.
That offers genuine flexibility. It's not just about today, it's about adapting the space over years. Future-proofing, almost.
Exactly. And it could make the unit more appealing when you eventually sell, because it suits more potential buyers. Beyond that, they have specialized layouts too.
Like the dual-key units. Those are always popular for rental income, right? Or maybe for, say, an elderly parent living with the family, but with their own entrance and kitchenette.
Spot on. And they also offer interconnectable units. So you could potentially buy, say, a type D1 and a type A1 next to each other and combine them. Create a really large, almost penthouse-style space.
Clever. And you mentioned specific features for older residents.
Yeah, they've thought that through. Things like wider doorways, bathrooms designed for wheelchair access, even panic buttons in some units. It shows they're serious about that multi-generational appeal.
Okay, so the layouts are flexible. What about the overall look and feel?
They're aiming high. 2 41-story towers. The design inspiration for the facade is apparently the abstract art of Pete Mondrian. Geometric, distinctive.
Mondrian, okay. Bold choice. And any green features built in.
Yes, they mention things like balcony ledges and structural fins acting as solar shading to reduce heat gain. Plus, plans for rainwater harvesting and rooftop solar panels to power common areas. Standard stuff for new builds, but good to see.
Right. Now, delivering on a vision like that, especially the Mondrian facade and those structural elements, it takes experience. Who's actually building this?
It's a joint venture. Distinctive World SDN BHD and another company called ECCAZ SDN BHD.
Okay, tell me about them. Distinctive World.
They seem to be more of a boutique developer, but led by experienced people like Dr. David Koh. They've done projects like Vista Damai Residence here, Klang Utama Township, even stuff internationally in Australia.
And ECCAZ, the name sounds newer, but the notes say they have vintage credentials. What does that mean?
Well, ECCAZ itself might be newer, but it's linked to the founding family of Eureka Corporation Berhad.
Eureka. Now that's a name with history, founded way back in '67, right?
Exactly. And Eureka's track record is massive infrastructure. We're talking the KLIA runway, Big chunks of the North-South Expressway, landmark hotels like the Westin Kuala Lumpur.
Okay, so the ECCAZ connection isn't just marketing fluff. It suggests there's some serious, deep-rooted construction and engineering expertise behind this JV, even if one partner is more boutique. That's reassuring for a complex build.
It definitely adds credibility, yeah. That blend of boutique vision and heavy construction capability is a good sign.
All right, let's talk facilities. They boast over 50. That sounds like a lot. Is it just quantity, or is there quality curation there? What justifies the premium price we'll get to later?
It seems curated, definitely targeting that multi-generational promise. So you have things aimed at younger residents, like a camping garden and a console game room.
Fun stuff.
Yeah, but then you also have features catering more to adults or seniors, a wellness lawn, hydrotherapy pool features. It's segmented.
What about practical stuff, things people actually need day to day?
That's where I think the real value might lie. They've included a co-working space. Huge deal now with so many people working from home, right? Saves you needing a separate office or living in cafes.
Good point. And EV charging.
Yes, EV charging stations are planned for common areas, and importantly, they've made provisions so residents can install their own private wall box chargers at their parking bays. That's smart future-proofing. Saves a lot of hassle and cost later.
And the retail component. 38 lots downstairs.
Yeah, the plan is for essential services, maybe a grocer, a clinic, some cafes or restaurants. That adds enormous convenience. Means you don't have to drive out for every little thing.
Especially relevant given the location context.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Look, we'll talk about KL Metropolis, but the immediate area is still transforming. Having that on-site retail makes day-to-day life much easier while the neighborhood develops around you. You need to be realistic about living near a massive construction zone like KL Metropolis for potentially 5-10 years. Dust, noise, traffic, on-site convenience becomes crucial then.
Okay, let's pivot to that location. Officially, it's Segambut, Persian Arfa, off Jalan Kuching, but the marketing screams Duda North. Let's be honest, that's a branding play, isn't it? Trying to borrow the prestige of Mont Kiara and Sri Hardimas.
Oh, absolutely. It's classic location branding. Duda North sounds more upscale than Segambut.
So what's the reality on the ground? How far is it really from those established affluent areas? Is it truly north or just near?
It's definitely neighboring, not quite in the prime zone yet. The area right now is a bit of a mix, some older residential areas, some light industry. But, and this is key, it's slated for significant change under the KL City Plan 2040, PTKL 2040.
Ah, the master plan. So buying here is partly a bet on that planned gentrification actually happening.
Very much so. You're buying into the future vision of the area, banking on that transformation. Connectivity-wise, though, it's already pretty strong. Being just off Jalan Kuching gives you good access to major highways like Duke, Sprint, and KVE.
And public transport.
The MRT Jalan Ipoh station isn't too far, about 2.6 kilometers. But the real potential game changer is the proposed MRT Circle Line 3, which is expected to improve connectivity significantly if and when it happens.
But the biggest location catalyst, the one they seem to be banking the entire investment thesis on, is KL Metropolis, right?
Without a doubt. That's the narrative driving the premium pricing.
Remind us, KL Metropolis is that huge NASA TTDI project, 75 acres, RM 21 billion master plan.
That's the one. And Tuju is positioned, quite literally, right next door. They're even promoting a planned direct link, potentially an 800-meter flyover, connecting Tuju right into the KL Metropolis precinct.
And the core engine of KL Metropolis is MITech.
Yes, the Malaysia International Trade and Exhibition Center, MITech. It's Southeast Asia's largest exhibition venue. The whole idea is that Tuju will capture demand from business travelers, exhibitors, event attendees, and professionals working within KL Metropolis.
So, connecting the dots, the investment argument is fundamentally tied to KL Metropolis succeeding and generating that constant stream of visitors and tenants.
Precisely. If KL Metropolis fulfills its potential and timeline, Tuju is perfectly placed to benefit. If it stalls or underdelivers, that's a major risk for Tuju's value proposition.
Makes sense. And surrounding amenities are already decent, yeah. Publica, Solaris Mont Kiara for shopping and dining, international schools nearby, Park City Medical Center.
Yeah, the existing ecosystem is mature. You're not moving into the middle of nowhere. It's just that the immediate vicinity is the part that's still evolving.
Okay, let's talk numbers. The price. Indicative range is roughly RM 440,000 up to about RM 1.17 million.
Which translates per square foot, PSF, to somewhere between RM 580 and RM 790.
And how does that stack up against the current market in Segambut?
It's a significant premium. The median transacted price for existing properties in the broader Segambut area is more like RM 384 to RM 455 PSF.
So they're asking for, what, 30%, maybe even 50% more than the current going rate? That's ambitious.
It is. The justification, of course, is that it's a brand new concept, high-spec build, loads of facilities, flexible layouts, and crucially, that direct adjacency and planned link to KL Metropolis. You're paying for future potential.
But how quickly does that potential need to become reality for buyers not to feel like they overpaid, especially in the first few years?
That's the million-dollar question, isn't it? The projected rental yields look attractive. On paper, they suggest a potential gross yield of 4.5% to 5.5%.
This is pretty good for KL residential.
It is, but it relies heavily on strong rental demand, particularly corporate tenants, and short-term stays driven by MI Tech and KL Metropolis activity, kicking in pretty much as soon as the building is ready.
If that demand takes longer to materialize,
Then achieving those yields could be tough, and justifying that initial price premium becomes harder, especially when you look at competitors like Tuan Hertak 3 Residency, also in Segambut, is confirmed freehold. That's a direct comparison point for buyers worried about tenure.
right. And there are lower-priced options nearby, too, like Mnova and Kipong for those who are more budget-conscious.
Exactly. Which brings us crashing back to the biggest risk, the one we flagged at the start.
The land tenure contradiction. Developer and portals say leasehold. A news report citing the government says freehold.
Let's think about the immediate impact. Forget long-term value for a second. What happens today if you, as a buyer, walk into a bank with paperwork showing this discrepancy? How does that affect getting a loan?
That's a really practical point. Banks absolutely hate uncertainty, don't they?
Totally. If the legal status isn't crystal clear on the documents, if the loan officer can't easily verify leasehold or freehold through official channels, like a title search or the APDL, they'll likely get very conservative. Meaning they might default to treating it as leasehold, which often means slightly tougher loan terms or lower margin of financing. Or they might just put your loan application on hold entirely until the developer provides definitive official proof via the APDL.
So the ambiguity itself could cost you time and potentially money on your financing, even if you qualify personally. Wow.
It's a serious hurdle. Okay, let's try and pull this all together. Final verdict time. For someone thinking of living there, what are the main pros and cons?
Well, the pros seem clear. Amazing flexibility with those configurable layouts, especially for multi-generational families. Great convenience with the on-site retail and co-working space. And the connectivity looks solid, especially long-term.
And the big con?
Living in a transitional neighborhood. You have to be prepared for the reality of KL Metropolis being built next door for potentially years. Construction noise, dust, traffic. That's the trade-off for betting on future upside.
Absolutely. So the number one recommendation, the absolute must-do for anyone listening who's interested.
That has to be do not sign anything. Not until you have absolute official legal clarity on both the land tenure, freehold or leasehold, and the completion date. Speculating on the legal status is just too risky.
Couldn't agree more.
Yeah.
So the mandatory next steps for you, the listener, your due diligence checklist.
2 things. 1, demand to see the project's APCL, the advertising permit, and developer's license. That's the official government document that should state the tenure and completion date legally.
And second,
get your lawyer to conduct an independent land title search. Don't just rely on the developer's word or marketing materials. Get independent third-party verification, full stop.
Yep, no shortcuts on this one.
So it's a fascinating situation. Tuju Residences looks like a really well-thought-out product. Smart design, strategically located to leverage the huge KL Metropolis catalyst.
But it's currently overshadowed by this fundamental unresolved question about its legal land status. And that premium pricing really relies on the KL Metropolis gamble paying off relatively quickly.
Which leads to a final strategic thought for you.
Your decision on which unit to potentially buy, if you proceed after verification, should be heavily influenced by that confirmed tenure.
How so?
Well, think about it. If it's confirmed, freehold, fantastic. Your strategy should probably lean towards maximizing long-term capital appreciation. Maybe go for those larger, unique layouts like the interconnectable ones, something that holds its value well over decades.
Okay, makes sense for freehold.
Yeah.
What if the verification confirms it's leasehold?
Then the smart play shifts completely. With leasehold, long-term value inevitably decays as the lease runs down. So your focus should pivot to maximizing short-term rental yield to recoup your investment faster.
Meaning, focus on the dual key units.
Yeah.
Or the smaller, more easily rentable standard layout.
Exactly. Prioritize units that generate cash flow quickly and consistently to offset the lease decay. Your entire purchase strategy Which unit type, what size, hinges on what that official legal paperwork says about the tenure. Get that verified first.